We are brought to you guys by Cardinal Senior Benefits, who was started 5 years ago by two book guys, Nick Dale and Pedro Vega. And over the last 5.5 years, they've been doing over $40 million in sales in the insurance business. They started with their flagship product, which was final expense insurance, and are now expanding into a bunch of different industries, including annuities and Medicare. So stay tuned for that. But if you guys want to join the other 35 book kids that are working with them from all over the United States, make sure you guys message us or click the link below to get more information about working with Cardinal Senior Benefits so they can get into their best year ever in 2024. They've been doubling every year since their inception. All right, back to the show. All right. Now, how did you know you had to go pay for school? So you're like, I got to go back and do this again. No doubt. It wasn't even a question. Did you ever question it?
No, not a question. Nope.
Damn. And did you recruit?
Yeah.
No.
I brought out a top team my second summer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I started recruiting like right away.
COVID. That was COVID.
Yep.
Logan was in your team.
Yeah.
Dang. Did you know then?
Know what? That we were going to date?
Yeah.
No, I had a different boyfriend at the time.
Oh my. I forgot, dude. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Also a book guy.
Yep.
Eventually a book guy. That could be a story for Bizzler, though.
Yeah. So it was, I brought 7 people out that summer. I did not expect to date Logan.
I totally forgot. I spaced that entirely. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It happened,
Yeah. Book relationships, they happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't meet that boyfriend through books, Yeah,
I remember. He came out because you sold.
Yeah. I kind of forced him to come out a little bit.
You recruited him.
Or I pressured him into it, but he ended up.
It was good for him.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Net positive.
You changed
probably.
his life overall. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I would say so. Good guy too. But okay, so you went out, and then this is summer you went to Maine.
No, we were in Ohio.
Oh yeah, that was
second summer.
COVID. What was that like? Was it different? Virtual sales and stuff. That had to have been a trip.
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh,
actually,
you were one of those.
I just had a great Southwestern experience. I don't know what to say. I make the best of my situations,
I've
But
seen that.
I had a great time actually in virtual because I loved that. Like I basically picked out my HQ because we had Airbnbs, and I made sure that we were in a good one, good location. So our Airbnb was great. My roommates I picked out because I was AOLing, and I brought 7 people out. So all the girls that I recruited all the girls that I was rooming with were the people I recruited, and they were my friends. So it was so much fun living with them and like being with them all day because we were virtually selling. And our schedule was super relaxed. Like we got on the phone, and then for like a couple hours, and we go on like a 30-minute break. And so we had like a park right next to our Airbnb. And so we'd all go out there and like go on walks and play games and pass a volleyball. And then we would come back in and phone for like a couple more hours. And then we'd take like another 30-minute break. And it was in our schedule, so you didn't have to feel bad about it. It was awesome. We were working out every morning. Like I was thriving. I looked great too. I was fit. Like I was feeling good. I was making money. I was
great. I was fit. Are you not fit anymore? I guess
not as fit as when I was doing that.
You gotta get back to hot works.
I was also like, I'm working out. I'm eating healthy, but I was also like, 20 then. So I don't know.
Yeah, weren't we?
But anyways.
Yeah. I understand. My second summer, going into my third summer, is the best ship I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, it was just great. And yeah, it was fun because like I was talking to all my mom's friends and their friends, and it was just like I got to meet all of my mom's coworkers because we were doing like the Hot 100 list and, talking to friends and family, which that was uncomfortable at first. I was like, this is going to suck. I don't want to do this. But then I just started doing it, and it actually was so much fun meeting all my mom's friends, and they were loving it. Like, and it's so cool. Like, I think even the years after, since I continue to do Southwestern, like my mom's friends would actually give her testimonies about how much they love the books and the apps and stuff. And so like selling door to door, you don't ever get those. My screen thinks I keep doing thumbs up
because of the way you're holding the mic.
Yeah. But you never get really feedback selling door to door, but I would get feedback a lot from my mom's friends because she's a nurse, and so they would come up to her and be like, oh my gosh, my kids love those kids books and they're always playing on the apps, like tell Lainey like that, just tell Lainey that we love them. And then they would even like some of my family friends like messaged me years later and were like, hey, do you have anything for this? It's just such a closer, I guess, a warmer relationship. And
it was all referrals, so it works that way, because that's actually something that you really learn.
We did actually. We started learning that in sales school probably after 2020. I think 2020 really was the start to a lot of new things. So I think it was really good in that way, because they started really changing the way they taught things in sales school, because they realized how important that was and how if you teach it right, people aren't going to be weird about it. And so we actually started teaching referrals like 2021.
Very interesting.
Or even 2020 actually. But yeah.
And even when you're knocking door to door, then you were getting referrals like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was like a part of the approach. It was first approach, second approach, door demo, pre-approach.
But it wasn't for like,
and then fourth approach.
It was like, hey, who do you know in the area?
Oh no, that was
because like when Dustin Hill
we were taught that, not in the approach, but that was in the sales talk this last summer and the summer before, after the close and after the cash collection. We would get referrals. It was part of the sales talk.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. That's not something we got taught.
I think that helped a lot of people.
So earlier, when I was telling you about how I would deviate from the sales talk, that was one thing I absolutely did when I was really crushing. Was like, hey, not next door, but like what mom do I need to go talk to? So whenever I'd break turf, I'd go straight there. And sometimes I'd be like, call her right now. And she would call me like, hey, Linda, this is Tammy. I have a young man here, tall, dark, and handsome. He's from Colombia. He's so funny. He's the coolest kid I've ever met. Things moms say. And they may not have said all of that. Whatever. But on a serious note, I literally coach her, be like, tell her I'm on my way. Tell her I'll be there in 20 minutes. And she'd be like, okay. And so she would call her, and I'd go, okay, what part of town? And then that's where I'd go break turf. So like during
I never did that.
Oh yeah, like like a Tuesday when you're like you got nothing to do, just breaking turf. And some people are like, that's off schedule because that's on the very next. But I'm like, but that's a guaranteed customer. And then now I have a name in that neighborhood, so then I could just break turf in that neighborhood. So yeah, it would be a waste of 20 minutes to get to that house. But then I'd sit with her. She'd buy in 10, net 30-minute exchange. So if
I never did. I did that a couple times where I was, where there's a couple times where people would be like, oh, like they're giving me pre-approach and they'd be like, oh, I bet this person's home right now. You should go there. And then there was a few times where I did experiment and I was like, you want to just call them quick and tell them I'm headed over. Like I'd ask them where they live, and if they're close, I'd be like, close enough, I'd be like, oh, call them. And I feel like it was worse that way, because I got a lot of people that they would call their friend and explain like what just happened. Like, oh yeah, there's a person came to our door and we just bought these like really cool books and like she wants to come to your house right now. And then I remember this one mom, like she even had messaged me already. Like I realized later she had messaged me. Her name is Sarah. I literally remember. And the mom who had just bought was on the phone with her, and she goes, oh, well, don't send her over right now because my house is such a mess, like don't have her come over now. Like, my house is just such a mess, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh, great. Like, she literally would be someone I'd probably go to at like sometime today. Like, I'd probably get to her. But now that she just said, don't come today, I literally can't go. Yeah, or people would ask, like, how much does it cost? And then obviously they're not coached on not telling them how much it costs, like, you know, in the beginning. So then they'll just be like, oh, we just spent like $1,500, but they're great books. And then, you know, the person on the other line is like, well, I can't afford that. And it's like, they don't understand that there's different packages. So
that's fair.
I always just liked actually what I ended up doing one of my summers, which was really cool for the area that I was in, or it worked out with the area that I was in, is after someone would buy, I would have them share the post, and then I'd have them tag their friends. So then my post would show up on their feed, and then I wouldn't like tell them like whatever. I wouldn't have them like call them, but then I would eventually get to those people and I'd star them. So I know who I know who I'm going to and stuff when I get there. And then it's just so warm because they've just been waiting for me to get there.
Yeah.
But everyone has different
ways of doing stuff. It was my third and fourth summer. I had people leave videos instead of pictures.
Oh yeah, I think Seth did that.
People would stop. Oh my gosh, I think I took that page down. I had some really cool videos. I mean,
you took your Education Man page down on Facebook.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm keeping that up forever.
I should find it. Maybe I can. But like, I literally had moms. Like, I'd coach them what to say. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm basically leading the questions. But I was like, hey, why did you buy? What are you looking forward to the most? And you know, what just thoughts on what you thought of educational materials in general, like whatever, something like that. And so, like, at first it was just like a quick video,
that's
like,
a good idea.
Like a selfie, like, hey, mom, hey, guys, this is Andres. I'm here with Tammy and Billy. And what did you like about the books? I like that they help with math. Awesome, cool. And why do you think that's important? That's because education is so big, blah, blah. And then they post it. But then eventually I got to a point where I'm like doing like, you know, overhead kicks, playing with soccer balls, or jumping on the kids' trampolines. Or there was a picture of me. There was a video of me. This was my fourth summer. I'll never forget this. Some of the smartest kids I ever met selling books. And I sold a platy, and they had all these cats. So we sat on the couch, and we each had a cat, or all holding cats in the books. And we're like, hey guys, Andre's here. And the kids would be like, I love that, it's going to help me save time. And like, so if you see me in the area, make sure you say hello. I'm coming to your house.
Oh, that's cute.
Videos, and it was
oh my
so
gosh,
helpful.
That's such a good idea. Wow.
The videos were super, and now I feel like it'd be even more helpful because it's reels. Like, there's Instagram reels. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. And those get so much more views.
Absolutely. Because people stop for reels. People don't stop for pictures.
Well, I think too, that's true. But I think platforms are, they're pushing reels more because they're trying to make it more like relevant. And so you just get more views because they put it on the For You pages and stuff more than they do regular posts. Yeah,
it was fun. If I wasn't on schedule, I would get to a door and people would know me. It'd be like, oh, yeah, you're the book guy. I'm like, yeah. Like, that's yeah. It was so awesome. Like, I had a lot of fun. But anyway, cool. Damn. So, but you kept selling. I mean, you got to some big production.
Yeah.
Like, you hit MORT? Did you hit MORT?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. What was that like?
I don't know. It really wasn't. I mean, it was great. It was a big goal of mine that I had, but I think I really decided on like that summer that I hit MORT for the first time. I was very intentional every Sunday to just decide how many units I was going to sell each week. And I just didn't really I got excited about it the Sunday before. So I hit MORT on Saturday, and I just wasn't really excited about it because I already knew I was going to do it, which sounds really, like cliche or whatever. But yeah, it sounds very anticlimactic. Like, it really wasn't that that wasn't even my best day on the book field, like hitting MORT. It was just kind of like I had decided that I was going to do it. I knew it was the summer I was going to start producing high, like being a high producer. And hitting more, and that was just not going to be like something that was, I just decided before that summer that hitting more was not going to be cool. It was just going to be normal, and like that's what I was going to do. And so I think it, you know, I just had already decided that I was going to do that, which it was still like I was still very proud of myself for doing it, because it takes a lot of like mental discipline to not doubt yourself. Because I think that's really all it was. Like, as long as you're on schedule, you know, and you're not like off schedule like for even a second, and you're trying your best every single door, there's no reason you shouldn't be hitting more. But I think like people's mindsets get in the way of it. It's like you're not at a certain unit for the day or whatever, and so you're like, oh, maybe this isn't the week, or oh, this isn't going to happen. But anything can happen, you know? Like, there's people that buy multiple bags. Like, I've had that happen where it's like one person will buy 2 bags. And you just never know what's going to happen. So, or, you know, it's just like back to back to back to back to back, and it could all be in the span of an hour. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. But I think people's mindsets, it's really hard to keep your mind like where you want it to be. And so I think I was very proud of myself for having the mental discipline to actually self-talk 24/7 and like keep my mind right and stay focused on the result of what was going to happen that week. And yeah, it was cool. But
damn, did you hit it once, or how many was it? Like,
I hit it once. Yeah, I hit it once, but I was like around more for most of the summer. Yeah,
980
ballpark. Yeah, like 8 to upper, like 8 and above, pretty much that whole summer.
Wow. And it's the question, does territory matter? And why is the answer yes? It does. I think it totally does.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Oh, here we go.
I am. I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
This is why I love interviewing people who just got done selling, because the Kool-Aid still has that strong.
No, it's not Kool-Aid, and no, because I'll agree. You know, I'm not saying Southwestern's perfect and that, you know, everything they teach is like. I'm not saying that. But I will say, I agree, like some territory, it is easier. It can be easier, and you can be in a territory where you get lucky, right? However, I think you can always
you have that whatever came with.
I think you can always be, I think if you're a top producer, you can be a top producer anywhere, and your territory isn't going to determine, you know, it's not going to be the end all be all. It's one of those things where it can help, and it can be a little bit tougher in certain areas, but it's not end all be all. And I'll die on my grave, and I'll give you examples. I have proof.
Okay.
So,
please
bring it on. I will
give you. No, listen. Let me tell you my side. I agree. I will agree to some extent. Territory doesn't matter, and the only time that where territory doesn't matter is when you know how to sell in every kind of territory.
No, I disagree, but I'll let you continue.
So what I mean by this is, like, I've seen people who crushed it at Big Brick, and then they went over to like low income and then ate shit because they didn't know. At least at first, it was like their first summer all over again. First, they were like, "Whoa!"
Sure. There's always a learning curve,
or vice versa. Where people were like working low income, and then they all of a sudden one summer they sold 4 summers of low income, crushing it, selling 7,000, 8,000 units, 10,000 units, and then they went to like a Big Break their 5th summer, and it just was blinding because they didn't know how to do it. And there is a certain method to every kind of territory. Anybody that tells you not, I'm going to say, is full of it, because there is the basics are all the same. You still have to hit your demos. You still have to hit your hours. You still have to have a good attitude. But if you had a person that has that all the time anyway, that doesn't know how to sell in a specific kind of territory or like, yeah, there is like, again, I'll make exceptions to that rule.
There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, there is a way. But there are some people where it's like, it doesn't matter if you're Dustin Hillis or Peter Peckov. You weren't. And the reason I know that, let me tell you why. And here's my biggest argument, is that I hosted Peter Peckov here the summer after he sold 30,000 units. And he didn't sell 30,000 units again. And I quote him, and he was I was like, what's going on? Like, what do you think is happening? I was like, honestly, it's just not the same territory. Like, I'm not used to selling in this kind of turf. Now, again, it doesn't mean that people can't hit 30,000 units in that turf.
Okay, but he was seriously consistently selling like over 20,000 units every summer. And it's not like you can just sell 20,000 units in one territory. Like, just because he hit like a area where he had a little bit of a learning curve and he was like, oh, I'm not used to this, I'm like learning, like that doesn't mean that
all right
that turf is like unsellable, and it just means he was like having a learning curve. And
that's fair, but that to be said, he still had a preferential turf, which means it does matter.
Okay, just because you have a preference doesn't mean you can't make it work.
No, you're right, but then it does mean that like there's certain like, if let's say Peter Peckov, because of the history of the company, is the best book person that there's been statistically because he sold the most units, right? Like, he has a certain territory. Like, there's cases for both. For example, Ron Alford sold 75 times.
I think
more.
Emil has the record now.
He sold more than 30. Freak show. That's crazy. But like, you got someone like, okay, if you're like Ron Alford, for example, who's just like Mr. Consistency, and he's hitting MORT in every kind of turf on every summer. He hit MORT pretty much every week for like, he hit 75 times MORT, which is insane because he sold 108 weeks.
So how do you have that much great territory? That's just perfect.
Correct. Territory. But he knew how to sell every kind. So that's when it doesn't matter. But I'm saying like, it definitely matters because if you had to go back to sell again,
so you just learn. It's one of those things where you have to adapt. Like, yeah, of course. Like, you have to learn. That'd be like saying, oh, like you sold big brick your first summer, so you can't sell low income. Because yeah, it is a learning curve. Like, I'm not saying like go out and do the same exact thing every single turf and you're gonna get the same results. Like, you do have to adapt, and that's the beauty of the book field. Like, that's why you should sell in different territories, is because you're learning how to sell to different types of people.
Yes, I agree. But it
doesn't mean nobody can be successful in this territory because the territory sucks.
There's some people. Yeah, there are some territories like that. There's territories where it's like nobody could do this. And what I mean by that is like, you might have sold something.
I don't know. I agree with that.
Like, there's certain turf that's like just too spread out. Like, I know that because I've sold in them. Like, when I was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
I can see
it's like 6 miles to the next house, and it's dirt road, and it's like bumpy dirt road. It's not even like you can drive 40 on this dirt road.
Right.
It's like,
okay. But no, I mean, no one is, I would hope no one puts people in those areas.
I got put there my third summer. That was part of the reason why I was so off-schedule. Because I'm like, listen, I would drive, and this, I never really shared this as much because I'm sharing this now just to prove the point that I'm trying to make, which I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying this is why I think it matters. but this is also a little bit why I got off schedule, because my first summer I was like in country. No.
Mr. Mediocrity.
Oh, here we go. Listen, Miss Kool-Aid drinker. You were here like, oh yeah, that's you right now. Just like Kool-Aid woman right there. Okay. Here's the first time I got really, really off schedule that third summer. I actually got started off really well. There's a couple of things that impacted. Like I said, mentally, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. And ultimately, it's my fault, right? I chose to go to the movies. So I'm not trying to like
I'm just messing with you.
No, I know. I know you're messing with me because I know you and I love you and you're great. But there's people going to be listening to these things going, this is horseshit. Like, so because you know what I mean? There's people out there that are like, no way.
Andre sucks.
Yeah. In which case, I'll take it.
I'm way better than him.
Yes, you probably are.
I would never do that.
Exactly. For those of you listening who are in that boat, I do suck. You are better than me, and no, you wouldn't do that. But that being said, one of the things that would happen is I was in upstate, like way northeastern Pennsylvania, Honesdale, northeast, like Scranton, northeast of Scranton. Really bumpy. I'm talking about like, and at the time I had like a low, like again, maybe if I had a truck, this would have been a problem, but I would literally have where it's like the next house was 6 miles away. And like there was like these little roads where I'm like, is that a road or is that a long driveway? And it was like a long driveway where it was like 2 miles, and they're bumpy driveways, and you'd get there and then nobody's home. But it's like, this is the turf I got for the summer. I can't really like, the rest of the org is like nearby. It's not like I can just be like, screw this town, I'm just gonna go to the next turf. Like this is what I gotta get. And Yvette would always be like, marry your territory. And I'm like, all right, I guess. So when you drive 6 miles, turn around, and it's a 20-minute turnaround back to the house that just told
I mean,
me
if
no.
you can't get your 30 demos in a day,
It's
then
impossible.
that's an issue. But if you're able to get 30 demos, then you can find a way. But I think I would hope, like, you know, if you're talking to your manager and you're like, I literally can't get 30 demos, I'm working all day, I literally just can't get them, then
I would, but then
I would hope that they would
be like,
change
oh,
it.
but you're just making excuses. I'm like, dude, I want to see someone come out to my turf and sell and get 30.
I can understand that.
200 units. I just want you to come.
I kind of thought you meant
30 demos.
Yeah, in different ways. Because I would just never put someone in that kind of territory. So,
but
I've always said that to people, like, territory doesn't matter, but I'm always talking about territory that I put them in, and I suppose
it does matter because you wouldn't put people in certain
that I
parts
guess does matter if you can't get 30 demos, because it's like you can't even get your metrics. But
now I would still argue that if you can get your 30 demos,
I will say Logan Merret really challenged, because I used to think the same thing. I used to think, you know, it mattered a little bit, and Logan Merret like changed my perspective, honestly.
Why is that? What this is?
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
He's so consistent. So he was the number one first year, his first summer, and you know, like, he sold like 6,000 units his first summer, and I followed him his first summer, and watched him literally just do the sales talk word for word all the way through, and like did nothing else right. Like, that's all he did. That was like good. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't build rapport with them. He built rapport as much as the sales talk let you, you know? Right. He, under no circumstances, stayed longer than 20 minutes. He would literally, if it was after 20 minutes, he literally would just get up and leave. And it was awkward, because like, he wouldn't even say anything. He would just get up and leave, like they tell you to. You know what I mean? Like, he was like the most coachable person ever. But you wouldn't think that kind of like that would actually work, because, you know, it is kind of about selling, is kind of about building relationships. But yeah, I mean, he literally would walk in. He was very straightforward. He said his sales talk word for word. He knew it so well. He didn't like, he was very professional in that sense. Like, he said it word for word and didn't, you know, say or anything. Like, it was just very cut and dry, you know.
Sammy Southwestern.
He didn't use any names. And he seriously, I mean, he sold 6,000 units his first summer. And then it was kind of one of those things where it was like, was it his turf? Like, what's going on there? No. So then his second summer, so he just came out for 2 summers. We were in West Virginia the second summer. So the first summer we were in Maine. He's honestly sold great turf, like traditionally what most people would want to sell, kind of like middle income. But then his second summer, it was like the first half of his summer, he was selling like very low income, extremely low, like a situation where you would think, can you be successful? You know, like, do these people even have enough money, like, legitimately to pay for this stuff? Like, how can you really sell that much when these people literally like don't have money? And that's like, and he would even talk to me on the phone about it. Like, Lainey, like, this, I'm getting so tired of people like actually not being able to pay. You know what I mean? Because it's always one of those things where it's like, oh, you always have enough money, but we actually ran into the issue that we actually had to kind of figure out. That was one of our, you know, in the beginning of the intro, that was one of the things we tried to figure out pretty quickly, is if they actually could afford something like this, like what we were selling, because that's the kind of area that we were working in. And that was like the first half of his summer. He made it work. Like, he ended up selling 8,000 units his second summer. And the first half of his summer was super low income. And he complained about it all the time, but he thrived. He still was doing well. Like, he was still making it happen. He was complaining a lot, but he was making it work. Like, he was making it happen. And then the second half of his summer, I found, which I actually know from experience, I ended up working in this, like, it was the only big brick in, like, honestly, in West Virginia, like, as a whole. It was the nicest area, and it was nice. Like, it was very, very high income. And gosh, like, I got my my teeth kicked in, and I know how to sell high income. Like I had sold high income like all my previous summers, like, and I was good at it and I liked it. And I was actually saving this terp for like that last half of the summer because I knew I wasn't going to be able to work it all summer. It was only like one town, you know? And so I was saving it for the last half. So anyways, I like go there and I work for it. I work it like 2 or 3 days and I literally get my teeth kicked in. I was like, this sucks. Like everyone here is so uptight. I can't believe it. No one will give me the time of day. Like my few sales that I got in that area was like, it is like a miracle. I felt like that they even bought in the first place because everyone was just, I don't know, it was just weird. Like it was just weird. It threw me off. So I was like, I'm going back. I'll take whatever the price objections. I don't even care. I'm having more fun in this other turf. So anyways, Logan's on the phone with me, you know, like, oh, I'm so sick of this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's like, what about that turf? Like, isn't even working in this area? And I was like, Logan, like, you do not want to work there. Like, I work there. And he even followed me in that area. And I was like, dude, like, I don't know if you want to work there. Like, I don't know if you're going to do well. Like, I was like, it's rough, you know, you're not going to have fun. And he was like, no, I want to work there. Like, I'm tired of these price objections. So I was like, whatever, do what you want. So he goes and works there, and he actually has a really rough time his like first day and maybe his second day. And then maybe it was even like 3 days in. I don't even know. It wasn't that long. Like he was still doing fine. But at that point he was like no less than 120, 50 units a day was like his minimum, you know? So he was like, oh, this sucks. And, anyways, he figured it out. He started doing some different stuff, started using names. Like he was intentionally like every single night was like, okay, like evaluating, like, what do I need to do differently? And then he literally started selling 400 units a day. So he figured it out. And it's like, that's just.
You sold 400 units a day?
Day. Yeah. He sold 400 units like back-to-back days. Or something like crazy like that. And then he just started hitting more.
But see, imagine if he had been there the whole summer. He would have hit 10,000 units instead of 8.
Well, who knows? You know, like
I'm just saying that's what worked. He missed 10,000 units not because he couldn't do it, just because he ran out of time. But that's my point. Well, you got somebody stealing some shit in your parking lot.
Can you hear that?
A little bit. But that's okay.
I don't live in the ghetto, I swear.
That's not your car. But no, but that's
there's
my
nothing
point.
valuable
like,
in there.
My retort to that would be like, I think he would have sold more if he had been there the whole summer. You know what I'm saying? I think you could have hit 20,000 units because the thing is, he found his place because he knew how to sell in that. I mean,
he had a rough time. Like that, I feel like most people would just be like,
yeah, but that's big break. Yeah, that's big break anywhere. Like some big break is the same and some big break's not. The big break in Massachusetts was different than the big break in New Hampshire. And the reason I know that is because I sold them both. I sold my second summer was bananas, man. Oh, man, this isn't even a podcast about
you were selling big break in New Hampshire your second summer?
Yeah, so like my second summer I sold so the high school district that I was covering was in North Andover High School. But then there was a private school in that area called Phillips Academy and Andover. And I talked about this before, but it was like in Massachusetts, prep school, $50,000 a year to go to high school.
Can you imagine
paying
$50,000 a year for your kid to go
I've told this story
to
before.
Like high school?
Yeah, dude, I've told this story before. I can't imagine because I've sold. Oh my god, this is the biggest rejection, the most like amazing rejection I ever got. At a door. It was I was just shocked at the audacity of this man. So I knock on this door. I mean, big house, kind of like the one you described with the Ken's dressing guy. Like just all these houses are just massive, right? There's just like, you're like, what the hell do these people do for a living? So I knock on this door. I go, hey, I'm selling books to help with education, help kids save time with homework. Because that was like the biggest thing. Nobody cared about. Everybody was doing like if your kid went to school there was so much pressure for the kid to perform that like every kid was getting straight A's. Like literally, it was high. 75% of the graduating class of that high school went to Harvard. It was bananas. They had doctors as professors. It was the Hogwarts of freaking schools in America. So this guy, I get in the door and he goes, "Oh, education?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, okay, come in." And then he takes out his checkbook and I'm like, "Oh, this is a pony. This is like, you hear about these. These are legendary." And he goes, "Oh, one sec." And he starts making the checkout and he put $4,500 on it. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And he goes, "Look, this is how much I pay for my kid to get an education. So what the fuck do I need you for? Get out of my house." I know, jaw drop, right? I was like, oh, it was almost a compliment. You know what I'm saying? It was so rude.
Wow. He went through the trouble to
It was like, you could have just said no at the door. He brought me in the house and then said that to me and then turned me right around and said,
and it's like, what do you say? Like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I guess you haven't heard about me yet."
Yeah, like you don't second approach that, right? You're just like, wow, you are a kind of
who
person.
do you know that isn't paying $4,500
based on who you are?
Yeah, based on who you are and who you know.
But this is why territory does matter, because then here's what happens. So the key to big break is names. Period.
Yeah.
Which is why they always tell you go to high income at the end, because you've collected like all the names of everyone else. When you show up, you hope to God that you throw all the names at the wall and a couple of them stick, and then that's how you sell. So what ended up happening is I ended up going to this Indian community, and Indian, not Native American, I mean like Indian, like from
yeah.
India.
Oh yeah.
And Indian people, and it's funny because you hear about stereotypes and stuff like that, and one of my favorite things about stereotypes is the ones that are positive stereotypes. Like Mexicans are hard workers and they cook great food.
Sure,
Nobody wants to talk about the negative ones, but everyone wants to take the positive ones, which is a whole different conversation. But anyway, so one of the positive things about people from India is that they're very analytical. Like they think things through.
Yeah,
and that is, I'm not speaking. People are like, "Oh my God, this is going to get racist." No. I'm talking to you from the ringer. Right. Every time I sat down with an Indian family, it was nothing. When you earlier we were talking about emotional sales, this is not the case here. This is all about, does the math make sense? They have to research everything. They will do the math about it. It's amazing, actually, that people shop this way without emotions. It's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
By luck, I knock on this door, and it was Dr. Lisa, and I won't say her last name. She was a math teacher at the high school. So she lets me in, she looks at the books, and she goes, "These are amazing. I'm going to take a set for my kids, and then I actually need another set for the classroom." And I was like, perfect. So it was like 100 units, got her name. Holy cow, was that the breakthrough. Because whenever someone would knock on the house, and every parent was so proud that their kid went there, so there was always a sticker on the door, or a sticker on the car, or a sticker somewhere that let me know. I'm like, that's a magnet. So then I started just going to those doors, and it was like, "Oh, your kid goes to okay, cool. Yeah, do you know Dr. Blah, blah, blah?" And they're like, "Yeah." Like, she bought these. Anyway, and then it was just like eating, it was just butter. I mean, palm of my hand, and I started rocking the rest of the summer. My point is, if she had been the last store that I knocked on that summer, I would have ate shit the whole summer until I met her. So in that way, territory did matter, because I just happened to have, or if she hasn't been home. You know what I'm saying? Like it would have, maybe I would have found another name somewhere else, but like that definitely helped me, no doubt, because that name I clung on to that name. At the end of the summer, she was like, "You sold a lot of books." And I go, "Yeah, how do you know?" And she goes, "Because I got a lot of emails from a lot of parents that you had said that I bought these, and that's fine. I just want you to know that they asked me if I thought they were good, and I always replied yes." And I was like, "You're a rock star."
Oh, what a homie.
Oh, she was total
people
homie.
like that are so good.
Oh yeah, she loved me.
Great.
So,
that's so funny.
Yeah. Now, in New Hampshire, different conversation. I started selling a la carte, which was different. I never done this before, where I would let people choose their own package sizes. And then what I did is I did the keeping up with the Joneses. What I got good at was recognizing what kind of turf I was in. And I was like, "Oh, this is going to be better if I just let people shop." The reason being is because one mom, like my second door, this town had 45 families in it. The reason I know that is when I went to go check into the town, I asked for you ask for information from the town clerk, and she's like, oh yeah, actually this is a pretty small town, Southeast Kingston, New Hampshire. There's a small school, only like 500 kids in the school, not even total, K through 12. And I can give you the demographics. There's 45 households in this entire community that have kids. And I had 42 customers. There was like literally 3 people in the entire community that did not buy. It was awesome. I hit PC that week. It was insane. Like I crushed it. But like Monday, I sold to a mom, got off early. You know, I checked it off early. It was like 8 a.m. I already had like a 1 through 4. And I was like, let's go. I'm cooking. And I got to the second house and I started using the name a ton. And the lady's like, so what did Tammy buy? And I was like, she got this package. She goes, okay, then sign me up for that too. And immediately I was like, oh, this is keeping up with the Joneses community. Like, if I say that this person bought this, they can't not get that as well. And even though I was giving them the option to pick as they wanted, oftentimes what would happen.
Well, that's what people like. People like to shop around. They don't like to be sold. So
yeah. And so I'd be like, oh, just so you know, they got these 4 and they got these 4. But if you want to like outdo them, you know, like, here's what you're going to want to do. Because I noticed everyone had the same basketball hoop. Everyone had the same lacrosse sticks. Everyone had the same baseball
funny.
bats.
That's like the turf I sold in last summer. It was amazing.
Because I'd be like, just so you know, you can get whatever
you want. It can
be
good and bad.
Yeah, but you got, oh, dude, yeah, you're right. So, but that's what started happening is I would start getting to the point where I'd be like, you know, they bought this, but if you want to like one up them, you're going to get the 5. And so they'd be like for 5. And then the next family, I'm like, oh, they, you know, Lisa wanted to outdo Tammy. So she bought the 5. But if you want to outdo both of them, you get the 6. And then after I got one person to get the 6, it was over. Everybody bought the 6. Better yet, when I went back for deliveries and the first few moms that only bought the 1 through 4, I'd be like, just so you know, I went over to Steph's house and she's like, oh, if Lisa got the 1 through 5, I'm going to get the 6. And she was like, well, how much is the 6 book? And I'm like, oh, you know, $100.
Oh,
she's like, oh, give me that too. Like, it was so funny to watch that happen. That's how it worked. But it's because I knew how to play that. You know what I'm saying? I knew how to play that fiddle. If I didn't know how to play that fiddle, I would have ate shit, which is why territory matters.
I don't know. I think it depends on who you are.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think some people, it can depend on where you're at. You know what I mean? But some other people, which I'm not saying myself, I'm just saying like, I think some people just make it happen. Like, I just think of Peter Petkoff, and it's like, I don't think he would have let turf just determine whether he's like because he talks about like, oh, I decided to hit 30,000 units before the summer even started. It's like, oh, you're just going to like predetermine like which territory is going to sell, like, you know what I mean? Buy literally so much.
But yes, though. Yes, because you went back to Idaho when it wasn't working out here. And I love Peter.
I actually don't know his tactics.
I do because I sat and I'm like, oh, what do you think?
You probably do, but I mean, yeah, I just go back to Logan Merret, like, yes, and even myself, like, that's a good counterpoint. Logan Merret, like, yeah, because I just told him like it's territory doesn't matter. I wouldn't let him leave, and guess what? He figured it out because he was like determined to sell a certain amount of units. And I think when you're determined and you set your mind, like you have a goal and you set that, it's like it's going to work out, you know, something's going to happen. Like manifesting's real. I'm not saying it's great to do in everything you do, but it works if you use it. And so I just think if you like set your mind to something, like it's just going to happen. I believe in that.
No, you're right. I don't disagree with you. I think there's a point to that, and there's yeah, you're right. There's a point where some people it just doesn't matter for turf, but at the same time, as an OL, you picked your turf, and then you picked some first year's turf, and you definitely went, I'm not selling there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying generally speaking. There's OLs out there that are like, yeah, I'm gonna get this turf. I'm gonna pick this turf for me. That first you can get over there.
I mean, everyone has their preferences, of course. Everyone has their preferences, but I don't know. I would hope that people wouldn't just be placing people, you know, in places that they think are unsellable. You know what I mean?
This is true.
I would hope.
I
never did.
I don't know, man. I don't know how it works now. Now I don't even know. You've made good points. I will concede. You made good points.
I see your side. I see your point. Like, I'm definitely, I think I also just like playing devil's advocate, but I do believe in what I said. I do think there's truth in, getting lucky with turf and getting unlucky with turf. But
cheers. I'd agree
cheers.
with you. I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit. All right. So why did you decide to leave? Why this year? Why not last year? Why not next year? Why was this the year that you're like, all right, I'm done?
That's a good question.
I try.
So I thought that West Virginia was going to be my last summer, as I like kind of said before. That's kind of when because I graduated. I graduated in December of last year, so like a year ago.
I thought West Virginia was going to be your last summer too, by the way.
Why?
Just because I was like, she crushed it. She's moving on.
Okay. Yeah. See, I think it was the opposite. I was like, oh shoot, like that was such a great summer. Like I gotta come back. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It was like really fun. Why? What?
Why?
I did go back another summer.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
Yeah. Well, because I was kind of unsure, at that point, because I was on the fence. I've been on the fence of being a DSL or not, like for a long time. Honestly, since I started Southwestern, district sales leader. I had always been planted the seed, and it honestly always sounded great being a DSL. And I've always loved Southwestern. I've always been very bought in, and I love the mission. And I genuinely have fun selling books. But I was questioning it. I was kind of on the fence. I didn't really know what I was going to do the summer before West Virginia. I knew for sure, like all the way through college, I knew I was going to do it all the way through college no matter what. But then it was a question of whether I was going to stick with it after college. And that's why I always recruited well, is because I was like, maybe I'll be a DSL, like I want to hit it sooner rather than later if I am. So I'm going to recruit. And obviously I was very bought in. So I genuinely wanted to invite people to this great opportunity. But yeah, I was kind of like, let's set myself up if I do choose to be a DSL. And then before West Virginia, it was like, okay, I'm going to be graduated. I'm just going to have one semester after my summer. So I might not come back for another summer. I might get a job. Like I might start my own company. Who knows? And then I sold, had a great summer, had so much fun. Like, I brought a good team. It was just great. It was so much fun. And so I knew I wanted to come back again. And I also wanted a full-time. I thought that would be a valuable thing to try out. And I did it. And it was really hard. And I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for the experience, because honestly, it just makes everything else so much easier. Like my job now, I literally tell my boss, I'm like, this job's a dream. Like
this is nothing, bro.
You don't have any idea.
To recruit college kids to go
I'm
door
like,
to door.
I reflect on it sometimes, and I'm like, I really did like work from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. during the school year every day. And then I went and sold books like unlimited. And this last summer, my mission, which this last summer was rough, like not in terms of selling. I sold a good amount of units and honestly like had a lot of success, but like mentally I was going through it. In the beginning of the summer, I was just like, this is tough. I don't know how I produced the way I did, honestly, because I was like, I just felt like a mess a little bit. I
feel like everybody had a tough summer this last summer, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I think so. My production was fine.
Well, I mean, I'm just sitting.
You're right.
Generally speaking, as a
you're
whole, right. There was no way this summer was better than the summer of 2022 was.
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah, I wonder how that stuff works out. Like, I wonder why that is. Like, literally everybody. Yeah, because you're right. Because it was a down year, for like everybody. But
yeah, sorry to pretend. There's like trends, like election years.
I know.
Pretty big for Southwestern. Did you know that?
Interesting.
Really 2012, 16, and 20 were big years.
Interesting.
16 was a little off kilter, but 08 was a big year. 2004 was the biggest year on record. Everybody sold like 20,000 or 15,000 units. It's crazy. Yeah, election years tend to have obviously there's an exception to every rule, but like generally speaking, election years are always big in Southwestern. Don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but overall 23 was low, I feel like, because I was looking at like,
yeah, it was for force.
It's been a trend in general, low forever.
I think.
I mean, because like, look, 2012, my first summer, I sold 4,100 units and I was number 9, and I would have been number 1, or at least number 1 or 2 every summer up until I think Merret sold 6,000 units.
Wow.
Other than that, like everyone else was right around that ballpark. So it's like, what does that say?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a couple more people that were in there that maybe sold 5 or something, but generally speaking, like most for top first years were in the 3,000s or low 4s that were number 1 first years after me.
Yeah.
Don't know. You know.
Yeah. What was I saying?
No, you were talking about we were just talking about like how production was. You had a really tough emotional start this summer, and then like.
Oh, we were talking about why I'm.
Yeah, and why
I decided to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, ultimately I guess to just answer the question, it was I think I knew this before the summer, I just wasn't like excited about being a DSL anymore. Like I think I was very excited about it for a while, and then I just stopped being excited about it. It wasn't really necessarily, I don't think the big reason was because I was really upset with how like anything of what Southwestern was doing. Like I genuinely really like Southwestern, and it wasn't really because of anything like that. It was just, I just genuinely wasn't like very excited about the future of my career in Southwestern. And for me, it was, I felt honestly pretty comfortable like being in Southwestern, which is ironic because Southwestern's all about like being uncomfortable. And I was in certain aspects, like full-time was really difficult, and it was like out of my comfort zone, I suppose. Like, you know, it was very mentally hard. I mean, I remember a day when I was full-timing where I just couldn't stop crying. Like it was the weirdest thing. And it wasn't because I was like sad for any reason. And it wasn't because of anything. I just couldn't stop crying. I was like so stressed out, like, because I was just so like, I felt like I was so overworked. I just could not stop crying. I was just so like overwhelmed. And then it like moved into the summer, and but yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted something different. I wanted to be challenged in a different way instead of just like grind, being uncomfortable with grinding. You know, I wanted to be uncomfortable with like something, because I feel like Southwestern, I just had done it for so long. It's pretty simple, honestly.
Yeah.
Like once you get the hang of it, it's like you just do what they say. Like you just say the sales talk, and obviously there's things you can implement and learn, but I just felt like I learned how to sell, I learned how to recruit, and I had fun with it, but I wasn't like learning many new things.
It's like running a marathon, right? After a while, you just get used to running marathons. It's still a challenge. Like nobody says 26.2 miles isn't anything, but if you're used to running marathons, at some point it's not.
Exactly.
You're used to the suck, so you're good at it, and it's not uncomfortable in the way that it was in your first summer.
Exactly.
Like, this is brand new, and I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Exactly. And I also didn't really want the life of a DSL anymore. Like I think my perspective changed a little bit of like kind of what I wanted and for my life, and I honestly didn't think it would even, like I would even want it like once I got there, you know? Because I mean, by the time I'm a DSL, like I want to have kids, I want a family.
What do you want? What is Lainey's heart desire?
Well, yeah, that's a deep question, I guess you could say.
We're only 2 hours.
Like, what do you mean by that?
We're only 2 hours and 50 minutes in, so whatever it means to you.
Well, I'll finish what I was gonna say quick, and then I'll revert and talk about.
I didn't.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say like, what was I gonna say?
You were saying the things that you want to change, and so you weren't sure that you would even be excited once you got it.
Yeah, it was just something I was like, I don't know if I'm super excited to be a DSL, and so I just need to do something different that I'm going to be excited about and challenged in a different way. But to revert back to like what I do want is like, yeah, I think I would have never said this like 5 years ago or even like a couple years ago, but I want to be a mom and I want to be a stay-at-home mom someday. And like, I don't want to have to just like work super hard. I don't want like when I have like little kids, I don't want to have a business, that I have to like tend to. And I feel like being a DSL is like, how do you do, like with Danny and Aisha, it kind of works out because they're both DSL. So it like works for them. But with me, like, what?
But it doesn't,
It doesn't work for them.
I'm not. For them, it might, but it can't work long term.
Oh,
I'll finish this out later, but finish your
okay.
I'll tell you what I've noticed.
But yeah, I don't know. I just like I visualize myself in that situation with like what I really wanted in life, and I don't know. It just didn't really align. Like I felt like by the time I was DSL, I just totally would be in a different place where it's like hopefully I'm married or soon to be married, and then hopefully I'm like having kids soon after. And when I have kids, like it's just such a grind to get to DSL. And when you finally get there, like hopefully you enjoy it and hopefully you can be a DSL and but I just felt like I'd get there and then it like even if I was to be a DSL, I don't really know if I would really like find it that exciting for myself. And even if I did, I don't even think I would be a DSL for very long because I would just have kids and like want to be a stay-at-home mom and want to be there for my kids. And what I want and why I work where I work is because it's fun, it pays well. Like I'm able to like use all my my strong suits and fill my cup doing it and growing it. But I also like, I don't have, it's not my own business. Like when I have kids, I can either like tone down my workload and be a mom, or I can just peace out for a few years or whatever. And then like my plan, because I'm a very futuristic person, is to have like a fun sales job where, I'm able to like grind and be, because I love working and I want to work hard and sell and thrive. And then, once I have kids, just like be a mom, raise my kids well. And once it makes sense for me to start working, I'm just going to own my own business and I'm going to start a fitness studio and like have fun with it. And hopefully by that point, me and my husband have enough money for me to just have like a fitness studio for fun. And it doesn't really matter if it brings in a lot of money, and it might, but it's just like one of those things where that's something that's kind of my dream someday, but I don't even want it right now because I don't think it makes sense. I want it like later, when my kids are middle school, high school. That's like I'm like a big futuristic
and what's funny about life is that like that still might change. Like at some point you wanted to be a DSL, but that might, you might want.
Yeah, and that might change. Yeah, it might change for sure.
Yeah, no, I understand. And that's good. I think you're going to do well regardless of what ends up happening. I think that's going to be a natural thing. I think, especially after getting to know. I mean, I think this is the longest conversation you and I have ever had. Although we've had some good conversations.
We've had good conversations, but yeah, this is definitely the longest, probably.
But like, even getting to know a little bit more about you, like, there's no doubt in my mind, whatever you choose to do, you're going to do great. So that's exciting to know or to find out. Yeah. And just, by the way, for people to clarify about DSM, I've noticed that a lot of DSMs, when they started having kids, they stopped being DSMs. Particularly when the kids started getting to the age where they went to school. Unless they homeschool, but I guess I don't know if like even Mark Rao left when his kids were young and they came back when they were older.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty, like Yvette didn't have kids, Grant didn't have kids, and then they got married, both of them, and then they had kids, and then the kids started getting older, and they were like, this traveling shit doesn't really work well with kids. And like you said, for Danny and Asia, it works for them specifically because they both are DSLs. But like, what happens when Vaco starts 5th grade or like 1st grade? What happens when he has parent teacher conferences and it's the same week as GRS? What are you gonna do? Like, you can't just like go to GRS. Like, somebody's gonna stay home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or somebody else is raising them, which I don't know that they want that. But like, I'm just interested and curious to see how that's gonna work when Vaco's old enough to go to school, unless they homeschool, which they could. But then that means that somebody's gonna have to give up being a DSM because they can't be DSLs and teach.
Or I guess you could hire a teacher.
You could, but then again, it's like they'll find a way to work it and stuff. And I have no doubt that they're gonna find a way. I'm just saying, like, generally speaking, historically speaking, when the DSL started getting married and having kids, that's when they started leaving for something else that was a little bit more. I need to be home. I need to not be traveling as much, because the life of a DSL, especially the first few years, you're still selling books. Like, you don't just, it's not like a ghost poop where you wipe and you take a shit and you have to wipe. Like, you still have to grind it for the first couple of years before you can like really leave the book field.
Yeah.
And so it's like, can you imagine being a DSM and then like every summer you're gonna go sell books because you got to, but you have a kid at home? Like, that doesn't work out. Someone's not happy there, Probably whatever parent stays home, whether that be mom or dad. So that's just been kind of like that. I mean, Danny and Aisha are working for now because Vaco's still 3, 4, but like whenever,
who knows?
Whenever that turns into, first day of school in August in Lincoln or whatever. Does that work? I don't know. I don't know. Interesting, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of where my thought process was. But I think it's because I am so futuristic that I was kind of like, well, I'm not just going to waste my time like doing this over and over every single year because I don't have like another option. Like, I'll just go, I'm going to go figure out what. Now.
You're learning, and people like, it's funny because
and I'm learning so much.
Yes,
like,
isn't it crazy? So this is really interesting. So this is what's gonna I from doing this so much and talking to people who moved on, because my job is to talk to people who moved on. So I've learned this, but it's funny because Southwestern people are very entrepreneurial minded. That's one of the things that I think you gain, especially people who sold multiple summers. They kind of learn this. But like there's a point where you kind of get tired of it, and you're like, I don't really know if I want to run my own business. Like, I see the value in it, and I appreciate the ability to, like, for example, I run this thing. I'm just going to speak for myself. This is great. And I love it. It's making some money. We're starting to build it, but it's a startup at best right now. We're 3 years in, and we're still trying to figure out like cash flow. We're still trying to figure out how to grow it, right? But if somebody came along and was like, hey, I'm going to give you $150,000 plus commission to come do this sales job, and it's really fucking cool. Like, okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I could say no to that. If it's a really, really cool job and I can work it from home, am I going to really say no to that? Like, and it's got benefits and stuff. Like, now, I do believe in what we're doing, and I do have a commitment to what I'm doing, but it's like, like, at some point you're like, hey, $150K plus commission plus benefits, work from home. That's not bad. You know what I mean?
I feel like when I was in Southwestern, like, the culture was like demonizing salaries.
Yes, it does.
Salaries are great.
It's not bad, dude. There's
like salaries plus commission. I feel like
ideal
is perfect. Like, that's what I have, and I need the commission, me personally, to like stay motivated. But a salary is great. It like keeps stress away a little bit.
There's something to be said about, like, again, we're trained to be entrepreneurial, but the problem is that there's a lot of mental things that come with that. You have to like perform mentally, and there's like this it's not a 9 to 5 grind. You're like grinding all day, every day of the week.
When you are making full commission, so it's beautiful when you own your own business and you're doing something out of passion. Like, I honestly like do desire that someday. I personally can see the like why someone would be attracted to that. But like, I am also in the position where I'm like, gosh, like 100% commission for me personally, I imagine myself doing that right now, like not owning my own business, not doing something I'm passionate about, just like having a job where it's full commission and I'm like working for a company. Like
That sucks.
like especially like being like a little bit of a workaholic, it's like I would be working 24/7.
Yes.
And I would also not be enjoying it. I would
Yeah.
just like feel guilty whenever I'm not working, and it's like, and then I'm gonna be stressed if I'm not producing or whatever. I'm like,
and that's not to
it's
say
just not
that those
fun.
jobs aren't good and that there's people who aren't in the place. I guess what I'm trying to say,
Right.
it's kind of like
You're
the territory.
right.
It's kind of like the territory
Yeah.
question, right? Like some people are like, hey,
True.
you're still motivated by the 100% commission. You're still motivated by the grind. Even if you're working for a company that pays you like Cardinal Senior Benefits, they pay 100% commission, and you can make buttloads of money doing that, and it's definitely great. I'm not saying that that's not a good opportunity, or real estate, right?
I agree. There's definitely good, like I'm not just totally saying like for anyone who's listening, like never work for a company who's full commission. But I will say, which this is interesting. I got lunch with Logan and I both got lunch with Mark Hunter. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No.
He's very influential, like has he's a public speaker and just knows a lot about business and whatever. Logan's dad actually got us like scheduled a lunch with him in Dallas or Fort Worth, and he told us, like, Logan asked him what a big piece of advice would be. This is before either of us had found jobs yet, and literally the first thing he said to us was, don't work for someone who's not paying you salary, like, at all.
Yeah.
Like,
see,
and don't work for a company that's 100% commission, because he was like, when they're paying you 100% commission, like there's no like what do you call it, like there's no buy-in for them. Like if you fail, it doesn't really, there's no loss for them. Like they weren't paying you anyways, you know? And so when someone's paying you salary, it's like they're invested in you. They're going to make sure that you do well, because if you don't, like, that's money out of their pockets. And like Logan and I were so shocked. We were like, oh, like weird. Like we've never heard this before.
Yes. Now counter to your lovely devil's advocation. Like earlier we were talking about some people still go for it. If you're a person that's still motivated by 100% commission, it's not a mistake to go work for a company that pays you 100% commission. Do it. Lovely. Awesome. Fantastic. However, when you know that you have $150,000 coming in a year or whatever, let's say even if your salary is 70 grand, 50 grand, whatever, there's a certain mental peace.
Mm-hmm.
This ability to, it's just a lot easier to create boundaries. It's a lot easier to create balance in your life when you're able to say, hey, look, if I come to this job, if I work it from 9 to 5, and I know it sucks, people are like 9 to 5. Yeah. If it's a fun place to work, if you're selling a good product, especially if it's salary plus commission, where it's like, even, and there might be quotas, that's fair. There's the pressure there, right? So there's some mental challenge to it. But there's something about being able to be like, hey, look, I'm going to do this job. I'm going to be good at it. I know I'm going to be good at it. And there's going to be, whether I sell a lot, have a good year, bad year, I'm going to make this certain amount, which means my rents, my mortgage, my car payment, my student loan payment, whatever, is going to be paid for. There's so much less stress that you avoid. There's so much more stress that you avoid when you're not in that situation. It's the same as, like, you know, that Sunday night feeling or that Monday morning feeling when you're selling books, when you're like, holy shit, it's a brand new week and I got to figure out a way to go. Even though I just hit MORT last week, I hit, there's like a bit of you inside that's like, I don't know if I can do that again. And you do, and it's fine, but that's gone.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I have to be so, which it's great selling books, because I mean, what else are you going to do when you're in a different state? Like, you're supposed to be working 80 hours. Like, I think that's what it's for, that, like, the book field particularly. Oh, I love you. You're so funny. But
we need to talk more often, by the way.
I But we've just been talking for 3 hours.
Yeah, so sorry.
I keep getting like, no, this is great. I'm totally enjoying this. But I'm trying to remember what I was just gonna say.
You were saying when
What were we just talking about?
when you're like in that stage and you're working 80 hours a week, like.
Oh. Yes.
I got you, girl. I'm listening.
You got me.
I'm a listener.
Love it. So I feel like you grow up and you a sock's coming off. Oh man.
Oh my gosh, that was the funniest. Listen, that was the best inside joke I think we've ever had on this podcast.
That was good. I think that was the only inside joke we had.
But that was great. That was
oh. He's bald, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm bald and I'm senor clean. And it's loud. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but for real. Listen up, folks. This is,
by the way, this is
real
cool.
talk.
We're talking some good shit here.
This is real talk, and I feel strongly about this.
This is a real deal.
So
the real deal.
Oh my gosh. But I don't know, you just grow up and you realize that money is everything. And like, if you would have known me 5 years ago or whatever, I had a completely different mindset. Like I used to I still want nice things, and I still want a nice house someday, and like I still want all the things, but it was ridiculous. Like people listening that know me really well, like way back when, like I wanted a house like Joe Shea, where it's like, loop around driveway and huge 10 rooms and just like foyers and everything, and like that would be great. But I feel like you just grow up and you're like, what's the point of life? Like that's not really the point of life. Actually, that's actually pretty bad. If you just live to just make money, like the point of life is like, serving the Lord, and not just like how much money can I make all the time. Like it's just not the point. So I don't know. I just grow up and I'm like, I don't need to just work 24/7 and like miss out on life. And working hard's good. Like working hard is essential. Like I think I was listening to a different podcast actually that was talking about how you can, like in whatever you're doing, like work your hardest in it, because like do everything as if you were serving the Lord in that. So it's like I feel like I take that to work, where it's like whatever I'm doing, I'm going to do my best. But there's a point where you also have to enjoy life and not just focus on like how much money can I make, because that's all that matters in this life. And like community's important, friends are important. It's important to, like I don't have kids yet, but like raising your kids and teaching them, like not just sending them to daycare every single day and like not seeing them half the day and like not being there, like not, you know what I mean? Like just where works your life. I don't know. It just isn't appealing to me anymore as much.
Yeah, it's just funny to me because it's people like, yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, even now, like so I look at my 20s, I look at my 30s, and look, if you were to, I still have student loans that I'm paying off, right? I still have, I don't own a bunch of property. I don't have, a giant Roth IRA at this moment in my life. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean I'm not saving. It doesn't mean I'm not trying, right? It doesn't mean I'm not thinking in that way. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm 31 years old, and I have had, and this is not, I'm going to tell you some of the fun highlights of my life without trying to brag, right? I'm just trying to tell you.
Just brag. Bring it on.
I don't normally talk about myself as much on this podcast because I've never actually even done an episode. You know what I'm saying? There hasn't been my episode on here, which is fun.
Oh, maybe I should interview you next time.
That's what you think? Ooh,
yeah. Maybe I'll be the host next time.
Host Lainey. And then socks and stuff.
Yeah, are gone.
Nothing.
No socks.
No socks.
Be crazy.
Oh no, still not. Okay. Okay.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Jesus. Oh my gosh, this is so funny, dude. All right.
If y'all are still on, you're the real ones.
If y'all knew what we're talking about too, it would be extra funny right now. But I'm sorry for excluding the audience.
We'll save that for Bizzler.
Gosh, I love you. You said it to me.
Who doesn't?
You said it to me, but now I'm saying it to you with so much love. By the way, people listening, if you're still with us, come to Bizzler. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're going to Antigua, and it's gonna be bougie. If you get a room, you're gonna get a butler in your room. Just so you know, it's sick. Anyway, so all I'm trying to say is, like, I'm looking back on my life. I'm like, look, even this year. This year, I went to Oktoberfest in Munich. I climbed in the biggest indoor rock climbing gym in the world. In Paris. I went to the historical park in Bulgaria. I went to the Dominican Republic. I rode horses in the Valley of Cocora in Colombia. I went to Medellin this last 2023. In my life, I've gone to a Barcelona game in Spain. I've seen a Manchester United game in Manchester. I've, like all these little things that I've gotten to experience that if you like added up all of those things financially, should I have put all that, whatever, I probably spent $50,000 to $100,000 in experiences in my life. And if I would have invested that by now, it'd be worth $500,000. And some financial advisor would be telling me that I'm an idiot for not having saved that and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, but dude, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I fucking lived. I mean, I even told my wife when I was driving a Mercedes-Benz C-Class in the Autobahn in Germany, going 150 miles an hour, having a time of my life 2 months ago. I have footage of this. And in my head, I'm like, if we, I didn't want to crash, but I'm just saying, like, when we got done and we got to the Airbnb, in my head, I'm like, if I got stabbed right now, if I died of a heart attack, as I'm dying, I'd be like, there was things in life I didn't get to do. I didn't get to have kids yet. I didn't get to, like, go to certain places or do certain things, right? But it's okay, because what I have done has been totally worth it. So just to your point about money, it's like, yeah, I still have student loans. I don't have, my net worth is nowhere near $1 million, right? But my life worth, my experience worth is abundant. And I'd rather have that than be someone who's like grinding 90 hours. And again, I'm not saying that this is wrong, because I have friends who are like this. So more power to you, my friends, who you are. And you know who you are if you're listening. But there's people who are working 90 hours a week, trying to grow their business, trying to like do their thing, hustle their way through. They're saving it. They're drinking water, not Coke. That's no joke. They're, living below their means, and and that's not to say I'm not either. I'm just saying, like, they don't travel as much, or they still do enjoy life. But it's just like, yeah, but if you died tomorrow, would you be able to say, like, they're going to experience the thing I experienced when they're 60, and they're probably going to they're going to do it in more lavish ways. They're going to do it in ways that, like, they're staying at the nicest resorts or at the nicest hotel rooms that I didn't get to stay in when I was in Munich and when I was in Amsterdam. Yeah. Right. But that's fine. I did it in my 20s. You did it in your 60s. There's nothing wrong with either way. The thing is, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I had just a lot more energy to be able to do it. And so that's fine. Yeah. But it's not always about the grind. That's not to say that the grind is bad. It's just that sometimes it's not always about that. And that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think something weird, like kind of crazy that I experienced, like moving to Texas, which DFW is pretty family oriented, it seems like so far. But when I go to like Austin or even Dallas a little bit, like Fort Worth is pretty family. Like I like Fort Worth. Fort Worth is like, it's my vibe. But like Austin, which I love Austin and Dallas too, but like I don't go down there, and it's so crazy. Like a lot of like women that I talk to, they're like in their 30s or they're like in their 30s and they're not married, they don't have kids, and they're just like so like these women, they're so wrapped up in their work, and like they want to like climb the corporate ladder before they start a family and have kids. And it's like, girl, that's not the point of life.
Yeah, you're supposed to. And here's the deal: even like
You
compared to
know, like
yeah,
they're like trading family for money, essentially. You
yeah,
know, they're like, I wanna just, I wanna be making a certain amount of money before I like even think about having family. And it's like,
yeah.
you know, like,
I understand that,
I don't
but
know.
then,
I just don't
but
understand that.
even within people who are like in their 30s and don't have kids, like they're not even like there's even a difference between those people who are like they don't like how do I say this? There are people like what you're saying where it's like all they care about is the money and the status and getting to the VP of sales and blah blah blah. And that's a kind of person. But even there's like some people that just don't want kids who are in their 30s
Yeah.
and still living their life like
Oh,
even apples to apples. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying? Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I
You're
know
so right.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying like even apples to apples. If you look at another 30-year-old who's just like, hey, you know what? I'm not busting it, but I'm like still traveling. I'm still trying to enjoy my life. I'm still going
Yeah,
to see
no,
things. I'm
you're
still-
right. And not everyone is even meant to like be married, you know,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
everyone's called to do something different. And it's like,
but it's the
no
people that are
one-
like, I wake up at 5 and then I eat egg whites raw, and then I'm at the gym by 6:15 or whatever, 4:15 a.m.
Yeah.
And then by
yeah.
6 I've already ran 2 million miles, and then I
And
do
that's
this.
another thing I've had to unlearn a little bit too, like just caring so much about what you look like and just
Oh, gosh.
health and health and fitness like still are big things in my life, but it's like one of those things where it really like some people are obsessed with it, and I feel like I used to be a little bit obsessed with it, which that's something I've had to unlearn because it's like that's not the point of life. Like that's not what something we're supposed to idolize, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're not supposed to idolize health. And
it does feel nice to go to a hot tub and be like, these people don't know about what's about to happen. They're about to see something.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
it's good to be healthy and like, yeah, but I think people take it to an extreme where they're almost like so worried about what they look like that they actually like throw health out the window.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Dude, eat a cookie.
They're not even eating real food. They're just protein, like protein powder, like
or
every
they just
meal.
only have like
or
raw
whatever.
chicken. Yeah, they only have like chicken and beans. Sorry, Seth.
Raw chicken?
No,
That's
not raw
crazy.
chicken. Like just like a chicken breast with no salt, no pepper, just straight up baked raw.
Yeah.
And like just chicken.
Yeah, and it's
and
like
green beans. It's like good for you, Seth.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, buddy. I love
But
you.
I would be a hypocrite if I said I didn't, I didn't care at all. Like I definitely, I care, but
cheers. I care too.
It's something I'm unlearning.
This is not the heaviest I've ever ridden in my life, but it's definitely not the lightest. And there's often times where I'm like, man, I could be more fit, but I'm like, I can still play soccer competitively. So I'm not like out of shape. I'm just not like as ripped as I used to be, not even close. But I struggle with that right now where I'm like, sometimes I'm like, you know what? It'd be nice to just be freaking ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Take my shirt off and I'm bumpy in every direction.
Yeah.
And like, I can do that. I used to be that way. But then other times I'm like, but dude, yesterday I had ice cream with my wife on the couch watching a really good TV show. And it's like, you know what? That's awesome.
We got a Taco Tuesday.
You gotta go.
At the local taco truck.
And tomorrow I have a soccer game and I can still go and play the full game. And like, run a lot. And I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? Like the minute we're like putting on my socks is a struggle, now we got something to talk about.
Oh, that's
you know what I'm saying? But I'm still putting on my socks. You know what I'm saying? It's still good.
Logan and I have been going to this place called Body Machine Fitness, and it's been like the funnest thing ever. It's like a nightclub. So they describe it as a nightclub workout studio. And we go every day, and we've made that's a big way we've made, like that's like our group of friends in Fort Worth is like cool. The trainers and people that go. It's like it's so much fun, but it's intense. Like half of the class is sprinting, and then the other half is like on the floor, like interval training, like weights. Damn. And it's so much fun. Like the music is like really up to date. It's really good music, and they have their own DJ that actually makes every single track that goes along with the workouts, and all the workouts are different. Like they don't even like repeat a workout once every like 10 months. Or yeah, so it's really cool. And then there's like lights on the ceiling. I'll send you pictures after this if you want. But it's like it's so crazy. Like the lights go along with the music. And so it's like dark, it's like a nightclub, and then it's like and then it's pretty sick. So that's what we've been doing every day. And then, you know, we do Taco Tuesday. And
yeah, dude, you cannot do Taco Tuesday in Dallas. You crazy.
Yeah. Well, we have a talk. Well, actually, we only did Taco Tuesday once. It was a tradition that we were like, well, let's do Taco Tuesday because there's a really good taco truck like on the corner of our street, and so we can just walk there. And the guy that runs it is super cool, and Logan's like made friends with him, which I don't really know who he is, but he's a cool guy, dude. I guess. Really good tacos.
Texas.
This last week we had to go to Torchy's Tacos, which is kind of like a common taco place here in Fort Worth. Because it was so cold here, it wasn't open. Have you?
I think so. For sure, I've been to Torchy's, but it's a lovely place, man. That's lovely. Dang, Lainey, you're just awesome, man. This has been a blast.
You're awesome.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your job. By the way, we're 3 hours and 20 minutes in. It's already a long episode, so if anybody's listening, they're going, "How long is this going to be?" Who gives a shit? At this point, we're past the point.
Who cares?
At this point, we're
grab a drink with us. Grab some popcorn.
Why aren't you drinking with us?
Like, don't be soft. Don't turn this off.
I wonder if we should make this a part
You're already
one, part
too
two.
far in.
We've been thinking about. What do you think? Should we do that? Where it's like
that'd be fun.
Sometimes when there's like super long episodes, we're like, what if we just break them in like half?
Yeah.
And then just release them as 2 different episodes.
Oh my gosh, that's probably a good idea.
Do you think? But see, like sometimes like the Joe Rogan episodes will go like 4 hours.
Yeah. Joe Rogan's. Yeah. I mean, I've never watched a full Joe Rogan episode.
That's true. I have.
Have you?
Like the Elon Musk ones or the Brian.
Well, okay,
ones,
I have, but they're always the shorter ones because he does have some short ones.
Yeah, some of them are just an hour, and we have the same. Anyway, tangential. Back to this. So, what the hell do you do now? Like, how does your job? Like, what is it? How does your career affect it? Did they ask you about it? I guess let me ask you this.
Yeah.
With the interview process, what was that like with your resume?
It is like.
Was it fun? It had to have been fun.
My interview process, it was like nothing.
No way.
It is a miracle. It is literally so God sent that I got this job. It's my dream job. Like as of right now.
Are they hiring? Would they pay me $150,000?
No. No. Like it's a miracle I got this job. Like
what happened?
Logan's dad is amazing. I literally need to send him like gift packages, like thanking him for connecting me with my boss. Like, so it's an ad tech company in Dallas. And before Logan and I had found jobs, Logan's dad actually works in the industry that I'm in. So he works in advertising. He's a seller, like he's in sales and at an ad agency in Omaha. And he was at a networking event in Dallas after Logan and I had moved out here, and they were doing some networking event at the Cowboys like golf, whatever you call it, golf course. And so it was just a bunch of ad agencies that got together to do this, and they had an after party. And so he invited Logan and I to come so he could, help us network and introduce us to some people. And so he introduced both of us to my boss now. And her name's Sydney, and she's awesome. I love her. And she's like just a beast. And she told me, she was like, yeah, we do not hire, like I've never hired anyone out of college, but considering your background, I'll get lunch with you. Wow. And so she was like, message me on LinkedIn. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna message you. Cause I honestly, like at that point I had a lot of options, and I was like at a point where I literally was praying like every single day, like to help me find something that I liked, because like I got to a point where, I mean, there was a lot of good options. A lot of like, Southwestern is is an amazing thing to have on your resume because I had a lot of options, but literally I was at a point where I was like, none of this sounds like fun. Like, there's options where I'm going to be making a lot of money, like, my cup will be filled enough, but I just like am not excited about anything that I'm like hearing about. And so I was like, maybe I should just own, like, maybe this is my sign to start my own business. Like, I don't know what else to do. And so, anyways, I was just trying to like look at as many options as I could. And I was like pretty open-minded at this point. I just wanted to like get the in on everything to make a solid decision. And so it's a crazy thing how we ended up working together because I ended up following or trying to connect with her on LinkedIn. She didn't connect back with me for like, it had been like 3 or 4 days or something, or maybe even a week. She like hadn't connected back with me. And you can't message someone on LinkedIn unless you have LinkedIn Premium.
Right.
So I got LinkedIn Premium.
Just so you could.
Just to message her.
Nice.
And so I messaged her this whole like thing, like, get lunch with me a little. And she messaged me back and we got lunch. And I mean, yeah, the rest is history. Like, we connected right away. Like, we had a good time. It's called Adherent.
Adherent?
Mm-hmm.
What do they do? So it's like ad tech. So you guys do like data mining, or what do you get? Like, what's the product?
It's so confusing. I'm like learning a lot.
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
It is so over my head still, which I'm getting the hang of it now, but I literally studied advertising and I did not understand all like how much really goes into advertising. So,
it's funny because that is the thing about Southwestern that they don't teach you is you're actually not it's not correct to say that you're in marketing, because you're in a form of marketing.
Yeah,
it is like it's much bigger. The things that run behind the scenes in the advertising marketing space.
Oh my gosh,
advertising is just a branch of marketing, even, but like advertising with.
How do you know
marketing? Oh, dude,
do you have experience,
bro? I have learned so much. But that's a whole different conversation. I mean,
so we're a DSP, if you know what that is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're a DSP. For those of you who don't know what that is, I didn't even know what that is. And I literally studied advertising in college. But so like brands, if obviously every brand has like campaigns, or most of them do. If they need a campaign, they need an ad agency that they work with. And those ad agencies they'll create these campaigns and these advertising, like these ads that you'll see on your phone, blah, blah, blah. But like basically no ad agency can actually get that ad from their template. Oh, there you go. To like how you would see it on your phone, or like Hulu ads, or billboard, like digital billboard. So we sell like digital inventory essentially. So, or I guess we help place ads to inventory. So we have our own so what goes into advertising, it's so crazy. So like we work with ad agencies, and we can work with brands too, but ad agencies will work with, and then we basically place their ads. So there's a whole exchange that goes with it. And so I sell that. Yeah. So I just have relationships with, media directors at ad agencies, and take them out and, go to lunches with them, and workout classes and pedicures, and then sell them on, or I guess,
that's really sick.
Then they'll work with me on, so cool. And we have a really good, like our DSP is really good. So
you're not online. You're not like work from home. You're like going out and doing these calls in person.
I mean, yeah, I work I haven't actually started doing really much yet.
You're right, because you're in training.
I'm like 3 weeks
started,
in.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like studying.
Yeah.
And I just started prospecting. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to like start selling again. But I go into the office once a week. I love my team. It's so much fun going into the office, but I'm at home most of the time, like sitting in meetings. And once I start like prospecting and getting meetings with people, it'll be mostly like, taking people out. Entertaining is what we call it. We have like a whole entertaining budget. So I'll just be like entertaining a lot and having meetings with advertising agencies and brands on, an overview of what AdTheorent is and why they should use
your
us.
boss the owner or just the CEO or like what's?
She's like the VP. So she basically oversees like the Dallas team.
That's cool.
But she started as a seller. So, and she was like a very high producer. So,
wow,
she's a beast.
So what did she have to say about your Southwestern experience? Like when you told
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Like it's just so funny. Like talking to people who've they don't understand it. Like she was so blown away. It's just so funny. Like I'll say the littlest things, and she's like, "Girl, oh my god, you did!" Like she'll be like, "You did what?" Like, "Oh my god, I love you." Like it's just so funny. I told her that I had to like find everyone's host families last summer, and she's like, "Wait, you just knocked on their door and like asked them if you could live with them all summer?" And like, yeah. She's like, "And they would let you?" And it's like, yeah. She's like, "Girl, like you're gonna do so well." Like it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Cheers. But it's so funny, like because some of the stuff transfers. She'll be talking to me about something, and like the other day I was like, well, I did pay Facebook to advertise my business page, during the summers. Is it kind of like, I was like, we were talking about an example, and she was like, "Wait, you did what?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I don't know, I didn't think it was that crazy, like," and she was just like, "That's so clever. Oh my gosh." And did it work? She was like, "Did it actually like bring you money?" I was like, "Yeah, people message me on Facebook." So it blows people's minds, like telling other people about my experience with Southwestern, because it is kind of crazy. Like that's the point. That's why we do it. It's because it's crazy. Not everyone can do it.
We have a podcast about it.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
My hope long term is that this becomes kind of like a Tiger King podcast. And what I mean by that is that even people who didn't sell books are like, what the fuck is this? Like, when you first found it was COVID, so it was perfect storm for Tiger King. I think if Tiger King comes out now, it doesn't really succeed as much as it did back then, because it was just so foreign that it was just like, hold on, tell me the premise of the story again. There's a gay man in Texas who owns tigers.
Was he gay?
I think he was gay. Wasn't he the whole thing about it? He was at least bisexual. Well, I actually never watched it. I actually never watched it.
I watched it.
Whatever. My point is,
I don't think he was gay.
I thought he was bi or something. Wasn't that the part of the sales pitch? At least that's how someone. Let me put it this way. That's how someone tried to sell it to me to watch it, because I didn't want to watch it.
That's how they sold. They were trying to sell you on watching it by telling you he was gay.
Yeah. Yeah, listen.
Why would that be incentive for you to watch it?
Because it just sounded wild. Like there was a lot of. Listen, COVID was a weird year, man. All right, listen. Let me tell you something. And I know you were selling books, so maybe you didn't get to experience COVID like the rest of us. But there was like, you remember that? Like, you were still recruiting, so you probably didn't even know. But there was like that weird weeks between like March and like May or June, where nobody really knew what the hell COVID was going to be like.
Yeah.
And so I got introduced to I saw the documentary Don't Fuck with Cats, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, incredible. Just like, wow.
I've not seen that.
I started getting into Rick and Morty. That was new for me. I was like, whoa, wild. And then one of the things, Tiger King, and the people like,
yeah, Tiger King was the wave I was on.
I tried.
It's like every night.
I watched like the first episode, couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. I know. But my point is
that was such a good show.
Weird enough and wild enough that people were like, this is bananas that this happens. And so my
Yeah.
goal is that eventually this becomes like that, where like most alumni are aware what we're doing and they're kind of tuning in, they're listening. Some of them are listening to every episode, some of them are listening to the people they know. But then there's like this whole other group of people who did not sell books, weren't even in sales, probably weren't even in business, but they're like, dude, I gotta hear about what this freaking person did, because this is insane that people do this job, because it's insane. Back to your point, like if you think about it, it's like we're gonna get a bunch of college kids. Like think about trying to start Southwestern now as a startup. Imagine it doesn't exist, and there's someone there that's going, okay, look, listen, you know how people struggle with math sometimes. Well, we're gonna create some books and some websites, right? It's gonna help them with math. And
Lead's pretty cool.
Oh, by the way, to Ryan Davis's credit,
upgrading everything.
Yeah, to Ryan Davis's credit, great product that they're trying to transition into. So let's just go with that instead. You know how people suck at being teenagers? Yes. Would it be cool if they didn't suck at being teenagers? Yes. Okay, so what if in the era of Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, social media marketing, digital marketing, YouTube, anyway, what if we just went to colleges all over the United States and Europe, and we got college kids to go door to door to sell books for 80 hours a week on straight commission, without providing a place to live, without providing any other
it's
guidance.
crazy.
It would be insane to try to start that company now. It's bananas.
Well, solar. I mean, there's other companies that do it, which I will say it's not, I guess it is not the same by any means. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I don't even know why I said that.
I actually talked to,
Books is a lot different.
I think it was Logan that I talked to about this, because he helped me. I think it was Logan or Will Arthur, one of our more recent guests. I want to say it was Logan.
Yeah.
After 250 episodes, they kind of mix in. I'm not Dan Moore. Sorry. But I think it was Logan.
What did he say?
Like, what we were just talking about, like, the things that make Southwestern so different than even other door-to-door companies. Because I was like, because in my head, I'm like, this is, this experience,
if you're going to do door-to-door,
it's not the same.
I'm biased, but.
Well, but even like, so the inspiration for this podcast, I've told this story before on the podcast, but do you know this? I'll tell it to you. If people already heard it, fast forward.
Yeah, say it again.
We're 3 hours and 36 minutes in. Who gives a shit?
I mean, if you're here, just stay on.
Just stay on for the ride.
Finish strong.
We're losing socks.
Finish strong.
We're losing socks here. We're losing socks here. You know what? 1 second.
The socks are off.
We're losing socks here. I'm telling you the story of how this podcast started, and I'm going to commit. To just.
There you go.
I'm committing.
Just take it all off. Oh my gosh.
Feel free. I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not. I wouldn't be willing to do myself. All right.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening, take your sweatshirt off.
Actually, it is kind of warm here because we've been out here for a while, and my door's been closed this whole time.
It's kind of hot in here.
So there's like nothing. There's like nothing circulating in the air right now. And I turned it up earlier because it's hot outside in Portland. It doesn't get this cold in Portland, and it's been like an ice storm for last week, and people are freaking out. Anyway, it's total tangential. So the way this whole podcast, this feels much better. By the way, just so you know, the way this whole podcast was started is because I was visiting Will Metcher here in Portland, and he took me out to a place named Prost, and we were with a bunch of it was him, he's a book guy, a couple other book guys, and then one of their friends who did not sell books, but he used to go door to door, or he was in sales. And so we were like talking, and this guy kind of was looking like he was feeling a little left out. He probably didn't feel left out, but I probably thought he felt left out because he didn't sell books, so he like wasn't really engaging. And anyway, so he's like, so you did this thing too? And I was like, yeah, man, it was crazy. And he goes, oh, and I get it. I went door to door, and I'm like, look, listen, this is going to sound like an asshole thing to say, but it's not the same thing.
But you don't get it.
He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, watch this. And so there was like a group of 6 of us, right? And everybody's having kind of their own conversation.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, hey, do you guys want to hear a pony story? And they all stopped talking. They all took a sip of their beer or whatever. And they all went, yes. And everybody shut up and started just like paying attention to me. And the guy was like, what the hell is that?
He was like, what?
And I'm like, exactly. But what Logan helped me figure out is that the difference between what we did door to door and what like solar, insurance, any other kind of door to door is not many Cutco, Vivint, right? Is they don't have to connect with the entire family to get the sale.
True.
Like if you're selling
you're
knives,
so
if you're selling
right.
solar, if you're selling anything, you really just have to talk to the parents.
Actually, I had this conversation with Danny. I think in Medellin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's something you forget, but it's so obvious and so true. Like you really learn how to connect with someone and like go through a whole cycle of selling. Whereas like if you're just selling, like solar, it's like, well, I mean, solar is set up so that you're just like setting an appointment and then someone else goes and closes, and it's like not really, I mean, you're not getting everyone involved. And then with other,
it's like you're talking to the breadwinner really of the house. That's who you have to convince. So if the mom makes the most money, if the dad, or if they make money together, it doesn't matter. Like, but you don't ever have to get the kids involved. There's no emotion, right? But when you're talking to a mom and you're sitting across and you're like, hey, why is education important to you? And we have had this situation. Mom starts crying. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you're 20 years old and some mom's crying because it's different. It's a different experience. My thought. Yeah. Do you want to get into some ponytails? I feel like I'm keeping you awake. Like okay, hold on. Let's take a quick pause. One sec. We'll be back. Okay, so ponytails. So, again, if you've heard of the show, this is the part where we have our guests tell one of their favorite stories from the book field. So, Lainey, this has been a
favorite story on the book field.
It could be your favorite story in the book field, or it could be like the biggest customer you had. I don't know. Whatever you want to make it. I don't know. Like I said, Lee McCroskey told us about the time he shit his pants in the middle of the book field. So it was that. By the way, if you haven't seen that, go back to his episode.
That was his favorite story, the time he pooped himself.
It was okay.
He's like, what's my favorite memory? Yeah, I think it was
do you want to know why he told this story? This is actually a true story. Because he told that story to like corporate one time, and Henry was like, Henry does not like poop stories up on the book field. He like hates categorical stories.
Oh.
According to many people that I've heard. Sorry, Henry, if you're listening to this and that's not true. Apologies. But that's what I've heard. So anyway, Lee was getting let go because they had to make cuts to the marketing department in 2013, and he was asked to give the keynote speech, goodbye, farewell speech to his career at GRS. And so he was like, I'm going to tell this story. That's the only time he told that story. And he goes, fuck it. So everyone that was at that GRS, myself included, was like, oh, what? And the only other place it's ever been told is here on the Ponytails podcast. So I'm pretty proud of it. It was amazing.
That is so funny.
He even said on his episode, he's like, what did
I need to go back and watch that episode.
Twice?
Oh my God. I mean, if you sold books and you didn't like pee your pants or poop yourself, then were you really on schedule? That's all I have to say about that.
Me. And no, I wasn't.
And you were not on schedule. You were going to the movie theaters.
Movie theaters have bathrooms.
Yeah. So funny. My first summer, oh my gosh. Peed myself a lot.
You did?
Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast, but literally it was such a problem that my mom, she's a nurse, she sent me a pee pan, which actually everyone in Forest Organization knows this about me, actually. Because
you had a pee pan when you were selling books.
I was so on schedule, I just couldn't go to the
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And yeah, because I mean, I was selling, high income. Like they don't all the time want me inside. No. Like most
also,
people were cool.
I think you're a girl. I don't want to assume your gender.
You can assume my gender.
You're a girl.
Yeah, I am a girl.
But it's not like you're a dude where you can just, I mean, I guess you could, but like dudes can just go in the, if you're in the country, you can go in some bush somewhere behind.
Yeah, it's like, and I've done that, and I've got, so it's just unfortunate for me.
Yeah. Wow,
I've gotten the cops called on me for doing that actually on the book field.
Yeah, see, like dudes can just kind of like sneak one away and just be like,
yeah,
nobody saw that. I mean, not in a neighborhood. That's really bad. Like you're selling.
So yeah, you live and you learn. Pee pan all the way. if anyone out there is still selling and they're having issues, you
know what? That should just come with a green backpack. You just get the backpack.
Yeah.
Sample books.
Green backpack.
Augmentino, and here's your PPAP.
Augmentino, your PPAP. Oh my gosh! I hope. Yeah.
I want to do a stand-up set.
Well, if you're still on, then
or
you're
a sales school for this. Yeah. And just like tell jokes like this. This would be fun. Anyway, yeah. If you're still on, welcome to
You get all the tea.
Yeah, this is
all the embarrassing tea of the book field.
Oh, all right. But here's your ponytail. So you feel free to tell it. Take your as much or as little time as you want. It's your call. But
okay.
This is Lainey Ramaekers.
For anyone who's watching it, currently is 12:30
in the morning, and we've been drinking, and it's a lot of fun.
One drink.
Oh yeah.
I
Speak for yourself. I'm out here like 4 deep. This bottle's like going.
Holy smokes! Well, I have things to do tomorrow. Unlike some people. Just kidding.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
All right. No, I heard it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'll just tell the ponytail. The ponytail that I think about when I'm like, this is the biggest pony I probably, I don't know, have ever like. I don't know why I think of this girl specifically, but she brings back good memories, so I'll tell it. Her name, I'm pretty sure, is Anne, and it was in West Virginia. And I'm not kidding you, like she was just like angel energy. Like she was just like the best. So I'll tell you the story. This actually the week I hit MORT for the first time, I think. And I went up. So when I approached the house, it was really odd because there was these like two like pretty like sketchy looking people. You could say like she had a huge fence, like one of those fences where it's like they had like Great Danes, so a fence so high that like no one could get in or out, and no dog could jump high enough. And so it was kind of interesting. But there was these like two people like on the outside of the fence, and then they were like talking to this lady and the little daughter. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. So I go up to them and like I was kind of interrupting a little bit, and I was like, hey, I introduced myself, and she was like, hey, this is not a good time, but you can come back if you want. Like, I'm all for education. And I was like, okay. And actually it's kind of interesting because like I probably would have like second approached in that situation, but for some reason I was like, I'm just gonna come back. We'll see. If I'm in the area, I'll swing back by and see, if I'm in the area. But I wasn't like, oh, call back, that's definitely gonna be a sale. Like I was just kind of like, well, she said I could come back and whatever. If I'm in the area, I'll come back. So I happened to be in the area during gravy. And so I stopped again, and it was just such an interesting situation. Cause yeah, like all the Great Danes came out. Oh yeah, there you go. Gravy. All the Great Danes came out, and then they got in, and she was just so welcoming. She was like, oh, come in, like I'm expecting you, whatever. She was super, super sweet, which yeah, usually during callbacks where they're just like, I don't have time, come back. Like you usually expect to go back and they're like, nah. But she was like, oh yeah, I'm expecting you, come in. And so I go in and I'm doing this presentation, and she's just like loving everything I'm showing her. And she's like, I'm showing her the packages, kind of like letting her shop around. And this was actually, I think, the customer that got me like more open-minded to selling bags. And like, it was after her actually that I started like being more comfortable just selling bags. Because I was showing her packages, and she like opened up the slick, like actually opened it up. And she was like, well, the diamond package, like, does that mean like everything? And I was like, oh yeah, like, yeah, if you want the diamond, you can do that too. Like, it just has everything. And she was just like, yeah, that's what we want to do. Like, why would I not? Like, everything sounds great. I might as well just get all of it. Like, you're probably not going to be back, or like, you know what I mean? You're only here for the summer. And so it really wasn't anything like that crazy. Like, she just, I don't know, just her energy gives me good memories. So anyways, she actually, it turns out that she was the grandma to this little girl, and like the two like sketchy people, which actually is kind of mean to say, I guess, but they were her granddaughter's parents, who were just, doing drugs and not really in a good place. And so she was taking care of her granddaughter, and she just like wanted the best for her granddaughter. And she was like, yeah, we've been doing ABC Mouse, and like, it's just not great. And like, my daughter is like, or yeah, she called her daughter and stuff. And so my daughter like loves, she loves apps and everything. We need a better system for her, and yada, yada, yada. And like, all this just sounds great. Like, I want a good education for her. So she just ended up doing the bag, and she lived in a really like, not a super nice house. And I was used to like payment plans, and she just like, I was like explaining to her like options for payments and stuff. And she was like, well, can I just pay for it all right now? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. And so she just paid for it all. And then during deliveries, it was really cool because it was fun because her sister was there, and her sister had grandkids, great grandkids, actually.
Let's go.
And oh my gosh, I was like explaining to her, I was like, I have too many books, which I actually did have way too many books. And I actually did have to get a U-Haul to take back to Nashville that summer.
way.
So it was actually out of genuine, like, I was like, I don't know what you're going to tack on, but like,
I need to upload.
if you want any more books, like, I have too many. And she was like, well, my sister's got grandkids, like, show them to her. And her sister was there. And so I'm like showing her the books, and she's like selling for me. Like, I'm like not even doing anything. Like, I'm just sitting back, and I honestly didn't even think she was going to tack on anything. Like, I was like demoing her own books to her because I didn't even bring anything extra in. She bought everything. And so I'm like demoing, like kind of just gave her the books. I was like, look through them. If you want any, like, well, you can have them or whatever. Like, you can buy them off me, and they're discounted. But yeah, Ian was like, you have to get them. Like, they're great. Like, what do you not like? Love your grandkids. Like, I got them. You should get them too. All this stuff. And we were explaining the apps, and then I was like, oh, well, you could probably just use Anne's like subscription. Like, you can have it on like 6 devices, so you all can just use it. And she got the annual. Like, Anne got the annual, so it's like good, better,
Yeah.
And so I literally suggested that, thinking like, obviously they can use the same subscription. Yeah. And I was just trying to, be a good human, like telling them how to save some money or whatever. And she's like, oh, just get your own apps. Like, just help her out. Like, just get the apps. Like,
dude,
they're good. You're going to have them for a long time. So then she literally got everything that Anne got, paid for it in full. Like, it was just so fun. That's just such a good memory I have.
2 bags.
Yeah.
When you meet people like that, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. And then she was like, I'll pray for you, like, so you can sell more books. Like, she's like, is this gonna lighten the load, or do you need to sell more? And I was like, I'm gonna need to sell a little bit more, but you've helped enough, like, I don't know how much more you're gonna get.
Dude,
you're gonna buy.
I have a couple.
So she was like, okay, well, I'll keep you in mind, if I meet anyone who.
Dude, angel stories are the best. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's not even a pony's tail. That was like you met an angel.
Yeah, no, I literally, like, I felt like good energy.
I'll have to tell you my angel stories some other time, so when we have more.
Okay, I would love to.
I have some good angel stories. I've had people made me cry, like, just really. I'm gonna get emotional just thinking about it right now. It's just God sent people, where it's
yeah. Like, gosh, God stories on the book field are just the best too.
Yeah.
When you're in a time of like struggle and, you know, like you don't have, that's what's so magical about the book field too, which I don't think gets talked about enough after people are done, is like how much you can like lean into God when you're in a time of like, you're not on social media, you're not able to call your parents, you're not able to just like call people whenever you're struggling and you're alone. It's like you literally have like such a cool opportunity to lean on God in that situation and get closer to him. And when you ask for it, like, you know, like, God, reveal yourself, you're so much more aware because you don't have all this worldly distraction around you. And it's just so great. It's so powerful. Like, and I love hearing stories like that.
I agree. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's really cool. I'll have to tell you some other time. Story for business.
Yeah. Part 2.
Yeah, another 4 hours. You want to hang out with me for another 4? We actually hung out for a while because he had some pauses in there.
I know. Yeah.
Oh well.
This could have been a 5-hour
Easily.
podcast.
I mean, there was some behind the scenes stuff. Those good stuff.
If you know, you know.
But only you and I know. That's great. Oh man.
Yep.
Lainey, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun.
You know, welcome back anytime. You know, we can talk some more. I mean, maybe as your job develops and you start like learning a little bit more about that, we'll have you just back on. I told Logan the same thing. Maybe you guys want to be back on together. I don't care.
That'd be fun.
Listen,
yeah.
I don't like being the face of the show. Like people think Naomi and our producer Amy and some, you know, Jacob are like, oh, but I'm like, yeah, I know, but I want ponytails to be its own thing. But sometimes I do pull on that string a little bit and I go, hey, listen, it's my show, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. So if you want to come back anytime, I'll pull that card if free.
Cool. I'll interview you next time.
Yeah. You're going to have to take that right from, now that I remember, Jacob wanted to interview me for my episode, and he's going to be here this weekend. So I think he's planning on having me record this weekend. So.
Oh.
Unless you want to fly out to Portland this weekend. I don't think you might get beat to that.
This weekend. No, it's not going to work out.
Why not?
I'm going to Orlando actually next week. I was like, am I going to be in Orlando?
We'll talk about this off the air, but we do have 2 spare bedrooms, and flights up here from Dallas aren't that expensive. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
So, we're random weekend.
Open-minded.
There you go.
What's that?
Random weekend in Portland. You never know. So.
I've never been. So.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, all right. Well, let me wrap this one up here. We'll put a bow on it. You're a lovely human. Thank you for being on. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who's stuck around. If you're still listening to this, please message me or message us on Instagram or
yeah.
Our Instagrams are on the screen. So if you want to take a look, or just find us on Instagram on Ponytails, and let us know, because I would love to know. What if we get no replies? It was just us two. It's fine. People are missing out.
You have to message us now if you watch this all the way through, because if you don't, then we're just going to think nobody did.
Yeah, and that's okay. If it's just us two,
and that's fine. We had a good time.
But sad for anybody who missed out. Really, that's
no kidding.
That's the key. All right, guys. My name is Andres.
We've got to hold on for like 3 more minutes.
You think so?
Dude, like, how are we going to do that?
Oh, actually, I do. Oh, my. You want to make it a 4 even hours? Is what you're asking? Oh, my God.
You can't do 3 hours and 57 minutes. Who are you?
What are you, Guts Club earner? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh. All right. I'll tell you about my angel story. How about that? And that'll be 3 minutes. 2 minutes now. I can do it 2 minutes. All right. Let's
do 2
minutes. Stick around this long.
Stick
around with this. So I'll tell you. Do you want one for my 3rd or 4th summer? I'll just give you a choice between 2 positives.
3rd.
All right. Make a ditch nasty. A town called Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And I was eating shit this summer. I was off schedule. But I got to this town. This is like early on, so 2014. Moms were just now starting to get into Facebook. Nowadays, like every mom, in fact, almost exclusively only people like in their late 30s and 40s have Facebook. It's most like younger people are doing Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So it's especially nice to have Facebook now because it's pretty much all the moms that you want to have on Facebook. But at the time, moms were just getting into Facebook. And one of the things that started happening was neighborhood watch parties or groups on Facebook. And I knock on this little development. It's going okay. And then I hit a mom. I knock on the door of a mom who she did not like Southwestern. Like, she had bought before, didn't use the books, but she kind of had beef. Don't know if some happened customer service wise or what. But I ate crap. And she posted on there that I was coming around, the book guys coming around, don't answer the door, like, it's products suck, blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden, it was immediately, I could tell, I'm like, what's happening? Like, it's not even like we're not interested. It's like, buzz off, bro. Eventually, I got to make it to Genesee. She opens the door. She's a previous customer. She loves products. She goes, "Are you with Southwestern?" I go, "Yeah." "Have you heard about me?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Damn, this is not gonna be good." And she's like, "I'd been waiting. You come back to me." She's like this black lady. She's big. She's like, I've been praying for the Lord Jesus to come back. And I'm a homeschool grandmama. I've been needing some books and I need some new stuff. I ain't got y'all been around for fucking 10 years. She didn't say fucking. Y'all done been around for 10 years. She's like this like super like awesome.
Love.
Great. She's like, "Come on in, baby." And I was like, all right. So anyway, she ends up buying and then she prays for me. She feeds me. She's like, "Do you like chicken?" I was like, "I love chicken." She feeds me some chicken. It was incredible and an angel I needed in life.
Oh.
And there's your 4 hours.
There we go.
That was
a good end.
Mark. You like that?
Look at that.
Mickey, if you're listening, God bless you. You're amazing. I love you.
Yes.
I keep it to at least once a year.
Real ones.
If not more than once a year. She's great. So, oh yeah. In fact, I probably should call her tomorrow. So, okay. On that note, my name is Andres Gamboa. This has been Lainey Ramaekers. Thank you so much, Lainey, for being on here. Y'all stick around or stay tuned for new episodes coming out. We have some pretty cool guests that are coming up. So make sure you subscribe, and hit the notifications bar if you want to get updated on when new episodes come out. We're dropping these typically once or twice a week. Not really sticking to any set schedule, but just make sure you tune in so you can, catch every episode that's coming out. Support us, like it, share it, all that stuff. Lainey, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being on here. Hope you had fun.
I had so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully our listeners did as well. I'll get out of here. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.